My name is Ryan Hardmeyer, and I proudly serve Division 44 North Key Club as 2017-2018 Lieutenant Governor. This tutorial will be about completing the club monthly report form for the 2017 to 2018 Key Club term. While this video is tailored to the Club Secretaries of Division 44 North, all Club Secretaries of the CNH District are more than welcome to view this tutorial for their assistance. So we first want to begin by accessing the Club Monthly Report Form Excel file. So I have sent this file in many emails. However, if you do not have access to those emails for some reason, then make sure to go to your web browser. Then you are going to want to head to the CNH cyber key, and the URL for that is cnhkc.ltg. If you are Google searching this, then you're going to click on CNH Key Club. This is the proper website. Then you're going to reach the homepage of our cyber key. So not only is this a helpful website to access the Excel file, but just in general, this is a really helpful website with lots of resources and information, which I highly recommend checking out. So for the purposes of this tutorial, make sure to go to Members, then go to Secretary and click on that. Then you're going to go down to 2017 to 2018 Club Monthly Report Form in the 2007 to 10 Excel format. Click on this and then let it download. Then you're going to click on however you access your downloads within your browser. Double click on the file. And then if you already have Excel installed on your computer, then it is going to open automatically. If you do not have Excel yet, it is very important that you do purchase it. If you cannot afford it for any reason, then you can either see if your school will provide it to you for free, or if they will not do that, then you can ask your club board if you can vouch for it for the purpose of completing MRFs for this entire term. It is very vital that you complete the monthly report form on Excel rather than Google Sheets or any similar service, as Excel is what this file is tailored for, and it is how information is properly going to be transferred and inputted. So with all of that said, we are going to move on to the instructions page. So after watching this tutorial, I highly recommend referring to this first page. It's going to have a nice little introduction introducing you to the purpose of this file. Following that, there is the key features section, which is going to include the key features of this file and a little brief description of each part of the key features. And then lastly, there's a little conclusion from our immediate past District Secretary, Angel Lau. If you have any questions pertaining to the District Secretary, you are more than welcome to contact them, and I will give you their contact information in this description of this video. So next, we're going to move on to Task 1, as following this little box down here. So click on Task 1. We're going to start off with club information, so let me zoom in, that way it is a little easier to see. For club information, you're going to want to make sure to put the address of your school in, then you're going to put the city of your school in, the state of your school in, the state of, the zip code of your school, and then you're going to put the phone number for your school. Next is going to pertain more to your club. So you're going to put your club website, make sure it's the full URL, not just the name of the website. Then you're going to have your club reflector group. If you do not know what a reflector group is, it's essentially just a Google group where instead of having an email list, you put all of your members into one database, and then every message you send out automatically gets emailed to them. Next is your sponsoring Kiwanis Club. If you do not know this information, make sure to contact your sponsoring Kiwanis advisor. If you do not have one for any reason, then be sure to contact me and I will happily give you this information. Next is the meeting time and location, so make sure you are putting the time at which you meet. So before school, lunch, after school, and then for location, you should be putting gym, cafeteria, theater, or classroom number. Unless you have another building, then you are more than welcome to put that. Also at the top, I forgot to mention the at a glance section. It should say 2017-18 term. If it does not, then click on this little box, click on the arrow, and change it so that it says 2017-18. Next is club name. You should not be including the words Key Club in the club name. It should just be your high school. So for example, I am a part of Wood Creek Key Club. So for club name, my club secretary would be inputting Wood Creek. Next is your club number. If you do not have this information, then I would highly recommend contacting me as soon as possible, and I can look up your club number on the International Dues Report and get it to you. Next is the district, which cannot be changed because this monthly report form is tailored for the CNH district. Next is the region number. So if you do not know this number, make sure you contact your Lieutenant Governor. For the purpose of Division 44 North, our region number is 16. So we're going to scroll down and click on 16. Next is the division number. So for the purpose of Division 44 North, we are going to input 44 North. Next, we are going to move on to club officers and advisors. So this section of the club officers and advisors part is going to transfer throughout the MRF, so it is vital that this information is correct. So you're going to input your faculty advisor, your Kiwanis advisor, president, secretary, and editors with these focuses in. So it is not mandatory that you have more than one Kiwanis or faculty advisor. However, if you do, then just put the one that you are in contact with the most, or it would be that would prefer to be on the document. The next part of the club officers and advisors section is the part that is not transferred throughout the document, but it is still very important that you input this information accurately just so you have it for reference. So you should be putting your club treasurer's name, and then you should actually have 4 vice presidents. You should not have 5 vice presidents. So ignore the 5th part. And then for each vice president, if you have all 4, then make sure to replace this section with their focus. So if you have one with a focus of service, one with a focus of fundraising, one with a focus of spirit, and one with a focus of membership, then those are going to be your 4 parts. And then you can have an editor with a concentration of technology, and then one with news, and then a historian, a sergeant at arms. And then for the other section, if you have a lot of other extended board positions, just put the one that tends to be the most active or do the most work, as it is not vital that you put every single position down. And then next we're going to move on to the general questions category. The answers to the following questions will automatically transfer to the reports and will be calculated in the achievement report. Therefore, be very accurate in compiling this information. So, do you currently have a member serving as a district officer or committee member? This does include lieutenant governors. So for the purposes of Division 44 North, the only club which will be answering yes to this section is Wood Creek. Unless a member from your club is appointed to a district office or committee, then the box should remain no for the entire term. Next is, do you currently have a member serving as an international officer or committee member? So for the purposes of Division 44 North, this box should say no. If for some reason somebody does run at international convention that has not already been appointed, then you're going to make sure to change the box to say yes. Next, does your Kiwanis sponsor fulfill the obligations of sponsorship, and or are you connected with your sponsoring Kiwanis club? If either of these are true of your club, then make sure it says yes. It should say yes in almost all cases. If you are unsure of whether or not to say yes, then make sure to email me or your respective lieutenant governor if you are not within 44 North. And then lastly, is your club a co-sponsor of a builders club or a K-Kids club? So many clubs tend to sponsor builders clubs or K-Kid clubs. However, you might have one in your community, but you don't directly sponsor it. So if that is the case, then you should be putting no for this section. Next, we're going to move on to membership. It is absolutely vital that you report the correct numbers for this, as you can correctly gauge your improvement from the beginning to the end of the term. So if you are not sure of your official dues paid membership at the beginning of the term, as in March to April, be sure to contact me or your lieutenant governor, and they will happily, or I will happily give you the information. Next is the official information for membership at the end of the term. So you will not be filling this out until February 1st, 2018. And then next is the annual achievement report score for the previous term. You should be asking your immediate past secretary for this information. Now, if you do not have contact or communication with your immediate past secretary, then you should be sure to contact me or your respective lieutenant governor. Lastly is your annual achievement report score for this term. So this is a box which you are not going to be touching. It will automatically be calculated by inputting information on the annual report tab. So do not ever feel like you need to adjust that, because you do not. Next is for club communications. You're just going to input yes or no for the following categories, and it's pretty self-explanatory. If you have any questions about task 1, be sure to contact your respective lieutenant governor or the district secretary. Next is the club roster directory. So this is the best way to compile the names and personal information for all of the members within your club. So first and foremost, we want to make sure that you put in your faculty and Kiwanis advisors in this section with the following information: preferred phone, email, whether or not they are faculty or Kiwanis, and then their name. For the purpose of advisors, it should be first name and last name without a comma. Now moving down to club members, it should be last name, comma, first name, and that is going to carry out throughout all of the members. Next is going to be the position. So if they are a member, you're going to write member. If they are an officer, then you're going to write officer. If they are a DLT member, then you are more than welcome to write DLT member. If they are a lieutenant governor, then you're more than welcome to write LTG or lieutenant governor, which has a relatively tricky spelling, but make sure to use autocorrect if you do not know it. And then if they are a district officer, a district chair, or an international officer or trustee, then just be sure to put that for position. It's pretty self-explanatory. However, if you have any questions about that, be sure to contact your respective lieutenant governor. Next is going to be the email for this member, their preferred phone number, which should be their cell phone number as opposed to their home phone number if they have one, as the cell phone number is going to be most helpful for contacting them at events. Next is the committee they are on. So if your club has established committees, for example, if you have a membership committee dedicated to increasing membership within your club, then the committee name will be membership, and you're going to put that next to any member who is on that committee. If you do not have a committee system established, then you're going to leave this entire column blank. Next is grad year. So the available grad years for this term should be 2018 for seniors, 2019 for sophomores, 2020 for, my apologies, 2019 for juniors, 2020 for sophomores, and 2021 for freshmen. Next is the member ID. If you do not know this information, then be sure to contact your immediate past secretary, your faculty advisor, or your respective lieutenant governor, and they should be able to get this information to you. Next is the mailing address. This is just for the purposes of sending information to them through mail. Then is going to be the city. So just make sure to put the city of their residence, and then lastly, whether or not they are dues paid. All of your members should be dues paid, so make sure to put Y in that category. If they are not, then put an N. And then you're going to continue this for all of the members within your club. And currently the parameter for club is set at 48, which is a random number. But if your club, let's say, has 75 members, then you're going to go to this skinny column on the left side. Then you're going to click on the 48. Then hover over the dark green box right here until you have a black plus sign, and then you're going to drag that black plus sign down to the bottom until you get the correct amount of members. So if you have 78 members, then you would drag down to this point. Then you're going to drag this blue line down to match the bottom of your membership. And then it's going to automatically transfer information for the rest of the MRF. So it's important that you do that correctly. So that is it for the club roster directory. If you have any questions, like the other tabs, be sure to contact your respective lieutenant governor or your district secretary. Next is the service record. So this is extremely helpful for calculating the individual hours of the members within your club. This information will transfer to the annual report, and it will be very useful for determining what level of recognition the members of the club you serve receive at District Convention 2018. So just make sure to do this accurately and completely. So the membership will actually transfer from club roster directory. So if we were putting in my name, for example, the first row would say Hardmeyer, comma, Ryan, since it's last name, comma, first name. Then my name will transfer to the service record. Quite magical, huh? And then the due section will also transfer. So since I am happily dues paid, I'm going to have a Y here, and then it is going to transfer to here, indicating that I am dues paid. And next is total service. So for the purpose of the beginning of the term, let's say you were completing this during the month of May. Then the event name, let's say, is Relay for Life. So you're going to put that in this column here, and then the date for whenever it was held. And then for total service, I have the best trick I'm going to show you. I was taught this by our district secretary, Margarett, so make sure to give her credit where credit is due. So in order to really calculate those member hours well, you're going to click on auto sum, and then you're going to highlight all of the rows underneath that. So let's say you want to go down to 50, then you're going to highlight all of the rows down to 50. And then you're going to press enter, and then this is really magical. Now when you enter all of the member hours that were completed for the Relay for Life event, let's say I completed 5 hours, then I click out of that box, and then automatically at the top it has 5 total hours. Next, if the next member completed 10 hours, then I'm going to type that in, and then it should say 15 up here. Wow, it's so magical. Can you look at that? So you're going to do that for all of these rows. So just repeat the auto sum feature for all of the total service columns. And then in order for the total hours to be calculated, that is going to be based off of all of these columns. So the auto sum feature is actually already working for all of the total service section, so you do not need to change anything there. So for example, if the total service for this column was 10, then you're going to see the total hours over here change, which it did. Next, we're going to go to the member recognition program. Alright, so I apologize for the little toss-up. So unfortunately my computer stopped recording, so I will now be recording a second part for the MRF tutorial. So we are moving on to the member recognition program. So you should be filling out this tab for all of the members within your club in order for them to be recognized at District Convention 2018. Not only is it a huge honor, but it's a great way to recognize members for their hard work throughout the term. So all of the information in the first column will be transferring from the club roster directory, and same with the dues paid column. For the service hours, all of this information will be transferring from the service record. So it is very important that the information on both the club roster directory and the service record is accurate and will be able to transfer correctly. Next are the columns which you are going to be having to fill in yourself as a club secretary. So we'll get rid of that information. And for training events, if this person attends Officer Training Conference, Region Training Conference, Spirit Training Conference, and Candidate Training Conference, that means they attended 4 training events. So you're going to put a 4 in this column. Next is Kiwanis family events. So if this member attended an event with your local K-Kids, your local Builders Club, your local Circle K, your local Kiwanis Club, and your local Action Club, then that means they attended 5 Kiwanis family events, meaning you're going to put 5 in this category. Next is interclubs. So the clubs within Division 44 North are paired in interclub groups. Now if the interclubs decide to have events together and there are 6 that are held and this member attends all 6, then you're going to put a 6 in this column. Next is division events. So this is regarding DCMs, division fundraisers, and division bonding events. So if they attend 6 of those, then you're going to put a 6 in this category. Next is district events. So if this person attends district convention in Fall Raleigh North or South, then you should be putting a 2 in this category. Next is international events. So if they attend international convention, there should be a 1 in this category. Next should be articles or visuals submitted. So if they're an editor or a vice president, then they should be submitting articles and visuals every month. And if they submit 2, at least 2 for 1 month, then you should be putting a 2 here. Next is event or project chair. So if they're an officer, then you're going to leave this 0 because they should not be an event or project chair unless special circumstances make it so that that's possible. Next is if they are a facilitator for a workshop at Officer Training Conference, Region Training Conference, or District Convention. So if they are a facilitator for all 3, then you're going to put a 3 in this column. Next would be a club committee member. Now if this person is an officer, then they're not going to be a committee member, so you're going to put a no. Next is division or district committee member. So if they are an officer, then they're also not going to be a division or district committee member. And a district committee member means that they are one of the 7 district committee chairs, or if they are part of the division leadership team for the division part. And then next is club or leadership position. So if they are a club officer, then you're going to put yes. And then lastly, lives saved from maternal and neonatal tetanus. So this disease is, funds are raised for this disease through the Eliminate Project, and the amount they raise is going to determine how many lives they save. So for every $1.80 raised, that means they save 1 life. So essentially, if somebody raises $3.60, then they're saving 2 lives. So let's say they saved 100 lives, then you're going to put 100 in this column, and then you're going to determine their level of recognition. So you're going to look at platinum, gold, silver, and bronze level requirements, and look at their level of recognition. So if this person did 200 service hours as well, and they are dues paid, do not be filling in this information on this tab. If you have the information filled out on the service record, then it will transfer automatically. So this person, they're dues paid, they did 200 service hours, they did the platinum level of 4 training events, they did the platinum level for 5 Kiwanis family events, 6 for the 6 interclub, 6 for the 6 division, 2 for the 2 district, 1 for the international, 2 for the articles and visuals, 0 for event or project, 3 for workshop facilitator. They are not a club committee member, they are not a division or district committee member, but they are a club or leader. They do have a club or leadership position, and they saved 100 lives from M&T, then that means they are going to receive platinum recognition because they completed 10 out of 13 parts of recognition categories, and their level of recognition will be platinum. Now you should be doing this for all the members within the club you serve, and you should be updating this throughout the term rather than at the end of the term, so it is less work. Now we're going to move on to the club elections tab. Now if you have been sending in the club MRF, this tab should have been filled out at the beginning of the term. However, if you have not done so yet, it is vital that you do so now. So you should be inputting this. So for key club term, it should be 2017 to 2018. For division, for the purposes of this tutorial for 44 North, it should be division, and then for the blank, it should say 44 North. Next, for region, for us, it should be 16. For club name, let's say, for example, it's Wood Creek, but it should be just the name of your high school without the word ski club in it. Your club number, it does start with H. The club number can be found by contacting your respective lieutenant governor or contacting your faculty advisor, so make sure to do so if you have not already. And then lastly, your Kiwanis sponsor. So you're sponsoring Kiwanis Club. So you should be contacting your Kiwanis advisor to figure that out. And then you should be putting in all of the information for your president, your vice presidents, your editors, and your treasurer and secretary. And then next you should be putting in meeting information. So the day of the week you meet, frequency, so this is like weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. And then time of day, so before school, lunch, after school, whatever time it happens. And then lastly, the location, so gym, cafeteria, theater, or classroom number, unless you have another building to name. And then for advisors, you should be putting your faculty and advisor contact information. Now, if you have more than one faculty or Kiwanis advisor, just put the contact information for the advisors which are most active or which prefer to be put on this file. And that is it for club elections. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you have any questions, be sure to contact your club president or your respective lieutenant governor. For the annual report tab, the only information that you need to fill out for this tab is whether or not the monthly report form was submitted. So you should be submitting the monthly report form every month, so this box should say yes. And that is it for information you should be filling in on this tab. The rest will transfer from other parts of the monthly report form. Next is project list. So this information is going to transfer from the service record, so you do not need to fill this out. And basically you're going to be using the project list to fill out your monthly tabs. That way you can see how many members were there, how many hours they did, In order to figure out how many hours per member, you're just going to divide service hours by the number of members, and then you're also going to have the total service hours for the event. And this will make more sense when I go to the monthly tab. So we're going to start with the monthly tab of April. So the information for the membership status section should transfer, and then sponsorship as well. And then, so the first information you're going to be inputting on the April tab, or whatever monthly tab you're on, is the attendance club. So this is going to be very important what you fill out, because it's very important information for your lieutenant governor. So you're going to be putting in the general meeting date, meaning the meeting for all of your members, in here. So you do not need to do like type in the number. You should be clicking on the box and then on this arrow and then sorting whatever date it is. So if you had one on the 1st, one on the 7th, one on the 14th, and then one on the 21st. These are all the dates you should be filling in. You should not be having a 5th week, since we do not have any months with 5 weeks. And then for members present, you should be just having your attendance secretary or whoever takes attendance at your meetings give you this information and then input it. So if you have 50 at this meeting, 40 at this meeting, maybe you had 20 at this because of AP testing, and then let's say 50 again at this. That's what you're going to do for members present. Now, for faculty present, you're just going to click on this arrow. So if your faculty advisor is present, then you're going to say yes. And then same for Kiwanis advisor. Hopefully your faculty and Kiwanis advisor are present at every club meeting, as that is preferable. And then guest present. So if you have a speaker present, or if you have like somebody from your school present, like a principal, vice principal, or like another teacher, and that is supposed to be there and is there for the purpose of the meeting, then you should be putting yes. And then presentation by Club LTG. So if your lieutenant governor if your lieutenant governor belongs to your club and they give a presentation, then you should be putting yes. And then lastly, if it's an inter-club meeting, so for the inter-club codes, so the S is with your sponsor. So if you have an inter-club meeting with your sponsor, so with your local Kiwanis club, you're going to put S. If you have it with another part of the Kiwanis family, meaning like K-Kids, Builders Club, Circle K, or Kiwanis, then you're going to be putting KF. And then lastly, if you're doing it with another key club, then you're going to be doing KC. If you did it with all three, then you're going to mark the last option, which is S, KF, and KC. Okay, that is it for the attendance club section. I apologize for the few hiccups within that section. Hopefully all the information is still clear. Next is the division, region, and district section. So if you or anybody from the club you serve communicated with your lieutenant governor this month, then you're going to indicate how you communicated with them. I know for 44 North, I communicate with every single club officer over mail or email, so that will always be electronic. However, if you receive mail from them or you talk to them over the phone, then you should be putting that as the option you mark. Next is if there's a division council meeting. So for the purposes of 44 North, there will be a DCM every single month this entire term until the end of the term. So you should be putting yes. And then if you have members present from the club you serve, then you should be putting the amount of members present. If you do not know this information, then contact your lieutenant governor and they should have it. Next is the Kiwanis division meeting. So there is a Division 44 Kiwanis, a Division 27 Kiwanis, a Division 7 Kiwanis, and Division Kiwanis for basically every key club division within the California, Nevada, Hawaii district. And all of these divisions do have Kiwanis division council meetings, similar to key club division council meetings. They do not have a division council meeting for every month throughout the term. So make sure you are checking for when those are. And if you have members present at them, then you should be putting the number of members present there. Next is Officer Training Conference. So for 44 North and South, we had a joint Officer Training Conference during the month of May. So you put yes here if you are for the month of May, which actually you're not. You're filling out for the month of April. And since it was in May, you're going to put no for this month. But if it was a yes, then you'd be putting the number of members present. And then lastly, advisor at training or e-learning. So if your advisor attends Kiwanis District Convention, then you should be putting that down. And just be communicating with your Kiwanis advisor to figure out whether or not they are doing that. All right, so next for leadership training and development. So for decon workshops, if you have an officer who presents a workshop or a member who presents a workshop, then you're going to change these boxes to yes. If you do not, then you're going to leave it to say no. If you have a division training event and an officer or member presents, same for region training conference, then you are going to be putting yes for these boxes. And then if you have an officer or member attend key leader, then you're going to put yes. And then if you have officers and members attend fall rally, then you're going to put yes, even if you just have one of each. And then next, for member relations. So how many newsletter issues did you issue to the membership this month? So did your editor and editor and vice president issue a newsletter to your membership? If they did not, then you're going to leave it as 0. Next is member induction. So if you had a member induction ceremony, then you're going to change this to yes. If you did not, then leave it as no. For new member training, this is usually what takes place at the beginning of each Key Club term. Then you're going to say yes, or the beginning of the school year. And then meeting held during school break, put yes if that applies. And then club elections report filled. Your secretary should have done this. If they did not, then make sure, or you are the club secretary. If you are watching this and aren't a club secretary, then make sure to be contacting your club secretary to make sure. And then for club directory and updates filled, you as a club secretary should have filled that out as well. And then lastly, articles submitted to the division and CNH. So if your vice president and or editor submitted articles or visuals to the division or CNH, you should be putting yes. And then lastly, for special events. So if you had a candidate from the club you serve run for lieutenant governor, then you're going to change candidate from no to yes. For CNH convention, if you had a member run for a district position or is seeking international endorsement, then you're going to put yes for candidate. And then for Key Club International Convention, if you have a member running for international trustee or international officer, then you're going to change that to yes. And then for number present, so basically if you have like 2 people running for trustee, then you're going to put 2 here. If you have 1 person running for governor, you put 1 here. If you have 1 person running for lieutenant governor, you put 1 here. Now, if you had a club banquet or a division banquet and you had 10 members present, you'd indicate so there. And then for Kiwanis special function, if your Kiwanis hosts a banquet, let's say, and you have 1 member present, then you put that there. If you have Kiwanis or faculty advisor present at these events, then you should be changing these boxes to yes. Pretty self-explanatory, but I just wanted to run through all of this so that all of you feel updated and informed. And then lastly, for the project section, you are going to want to refer to the service record for this information. So for example, if for the event you had Relay for Life during the month of April, let's say it was April 1st, and member 1 did 5 hours of service, the next member did 6 hours of service, and then the next member did 9 hours of service, then that would mean there would be a total of 20 member hours from this event, which means you're going to go to April and you're going to enter Relay for Life under the project section for project title, and then total members hours is 20, and then total number of members is going to be 3. And now you're going to look through the service tab and then see if your event falls under any of these categories. So was it a service project? Does this project benefit the club? Is it an ongoing project, meaning it repeats on a weekly or monthly basis? Was it a division project, meaning that it was held at the division level? A district project, meaning that it was held at the district level? Was it part of the governor's project? So this year's governor's project is Be Clean CNH. So if it falls under that, then you're going to put an X. Project with another organization, such as like the SPCA, you put an X. Major emphasis focus. So our major emphasis is children, and it's children, their lives are focus, I believe. And so if our service project falls under that, then you put an X. Next is a project with Kiwanis sponsor, so you put an X if that applies. Joint project with host and with Kiwanis. And then project with Kiwanis family members, so like K-Kids, Builders Club, Action Club, Circle K, or Kiwanis. And then lastly, a foundation project, meaning it's related to PTP, Children's Miracle Network, Eliminate Project, Thirst Project, March of Dimes, yeah. And then lastly is a fundraiser. So if you have a fundraiser, you're going to put an X and then the funds raised. If it's a fundraise for service, meaning it's like funds raised for like PTP or Children's Miracle Network, then you'll put that in here. If it's raised just for your club, like for district convention or just the club in general, then you put that here. And then if you spend funds on a project to host it, then you're going to put that there. And then all that information is going to go down to the totals tab, and you'll be able to see how many you did for the entire month. Next is the club snapshot section. So you're just going to give a quick paragraph on what your club did. Let's say, for example, you had a really successful first meeting, you're going to put that in the club snapshot. If you had a member that received Member of the Month at the DCM, then you'll put that in there. And other great tidbits, meaning information which really enhances the image of your club. The project snapshots, so you're only going to be filling in the chairperson in this section. So if Relay for Life, for example, had a chairperson, then you'd put their name right there. And that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching this MRF tutorial. I apologize if I made any mistakes or if I hesitated at any points. I tried to make this as fluid as possible, and I really hope that it helps you in completing your respective monthly report form. If you have any questions about completing the monthly report form, my information will be in the description below, or if you are not from Division 44 North, you are more than welcome to contact your respective Lieutenant Governor. We are all rooting for your success as Club Secretary, and we truly have faith in your abilities. So just as a reminder for Division 44 North, the July MRF is going to be due on July 5th for on-time submission and July 1st for early bird submission. I really appreciate your guys' time, and like I said, I wish you the best of luck in completing it. Thank you.